रिप्लाई
बाद में कर लेंगे बाद में. ठीक. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I first of all thank all the honorable members for their views, concerns and sentiments about the ongoing situation in Ukraine. Yesterday, 28 members spoke on this subject. I listened to all of them with great attention, and all of them made some points of relevance and consideration. Speaker, sir, we strive to ensure that foreign policy is a subject of maximum consensus in the country. Certainly, that should be the case with a subject as important as Ukraine. And I was glad to see yesterday that was the case. I was also very pleased that 4 ministers spoke on this matter, because these ministers went to the neighboring countries, they participated in the evacuation operations, and they brought a ground perspective, which was very important for the House to listen to. Honourable members would all agree that India's approach should be guided by our national beliefs and values, by our national interest, and by a national strategy. Let me dwell on each of these aspects before addressing some of the specific issues that were brought up by honourable members yesterday. What is India advocating in Ukraine? We are, first and foremost, strongly against the conflict. We believe that no solution can be arrived at by shedding blood and at the cost of innocent lives. In this day and age, dialogue and diplomacy are the right answers to any disputes, and this should bear in mind that the contemporary global order has been built on the UN Charter, on respect for international law, and for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states. If India has chosen a side, it is the side of peace, and it is for an immediate end to violence. This is our principal stand, and it has consistently guided our position in international forums and debates, including in the United Nations. Sir, many honourable members brought up the incident, the happenings in Burcha, and I want to say that we are deeply disturbed by the reports. We strongly condemn the killings which have taken place there. This is an extremely serious matter, and we support the call for an independent investigation. Sir, the conflict in Ukraine has had significant consequences for the global economy and for our national economy. Like all countries, we too are assessing the implications and deciding what is best for our national interest. Members are aware that in a complex and globalized world, every nation takes into account the reality of interdependence. Therefore, even as they express their position in words and deeds, they also adopt policies that safeguard the well-being of their population. As a result, we have seen, even in Europe, that energy flows continue despite tension. Similarly, a conscious effort was made to insulate the fertilizer market from volatility. There are numerous other measures in different domains, including financial and payment carve-outs. Even non-essential goods that have salience for individual economies have been factored in the equation. So what should India do in these circumstances? At a time when energy costs have spiked, clearly we need to ensure that the common person in India is not subject to an additional and unavoidable burden. Similarly, fertilizer prices have a direct implication for the livelihood of the majority of our population, and indeed for food prices for all of us. Even the security of the nation is at stake as we maintain our defense posture in the manner that the current security challenges warrant. All these, Speaker Sir, are legitimate pursuits of national interest by India. They are similar to what other nations are doing from their particular perspective. Attributing a political coloring to it is uncalled for, it is unfair. I do not even wish to get into which country is doing how much. Eventually, the numbers will speak for themselves. Additionally, there was a natural concern for our citizens, especially our students, who were trapped in conflict zones. The House will recall that I had made a suo motu statement on this subject. But some comments were made yesterday about Operation Ganga. I would like to respond to that a little later. Now, keeping these factors in mind, what should be our national strategy? The government believes that it should have 4 elements. 1, in terms of diplomacy, India continues to press forcefully for an immediate cessation of hostilities and an end to violence. We encourage talks between Ukraine and Russia, including at the level of their presidents. Prime Minister has spoken to them both himself in this regard. This was precisely the message that was conveyed to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov when he was in Delhi. If India can be of any assistance in this matter, we will be glad to contribute. 2, the ground situation calls for urgent humanitarian relief. We have already provided 90 tons of relief material, and I was glad to see that many honourable members yesterday noted it and appreciated it. And we did it even while we were in the middle of an evacuation. So I think that also is a factor that should be recognized. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Yulia Svyrydenko called me a few days ago to request the supply of more medicines. The House will be glad to know that this is underway and delivery should start very soon. 3, we will work with the international community and partner countries to mitigate the economic hardships that are resulting from this conflict. Obviously, our focus is to soften its impact on our own economy. But equally, there are partners who are going through very tough times. Coordinating on lowering energy prices is one collective initiative. In the case of a neighbor like Sri Lanka, we are even supplying fuel on credit and food on credit. Food security is another major concern. India has been approached for the supply of wheat and sugar by many countries, and we are responding positively. The House will be glad to know that whether it is basmati rice, non-basmati rice, sugar, wheat, we have in fact our exports in the last quarter has gone up very, very substantially. We have delivered for the world in terms of vaccines. We did it earlier for medicines. So I would like to assure the House, sir, through you, that we will also step forward where global demands for food, grains, and other materials are concerned, and we will do it in a manner that is helpful to the global economy, which will not take undue advantage of countries in distress. 4, there are issues like the supply of edible oil. Some members referred to it yesterday because we import sunflower oil in very large quantity from Ukraine, or of fertilizers that I spoke about. Now, our commercial diplomacy has to find additional sources to address this disruption. There could be more such examples in the day to come, and I would like to apprise this House, sir, through you, that whether it is the supply of lentils, whether it is the requirement of raw materials for fertilizers, we are in different ways, whether it is edible oil, from Mercosur to Kazakhstan, Tanzania, and Australia, to Canada. We are really looking today at global markets to see how we can lighten the burden for the common people in India as a result of this crisis. Let me say, sir, that overall, therefore, India's approach will be to promote dialogue to end the conflict, mitigate economic distress for itself and for the world, and to work with its partners to these ends. I can also say that many other nations who have engaged us recently at the level of Prime Minister, at my level with other ministers, they share such a view. Many of them are glad to work with us. Many of them are pleased that we have taken the lead in many of these issues. I would, sir, अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपके अनुमति से मैं सदन को ऑपरेशन गंगा के बारे में भी बताना चाहता हूँ। कल इस पे काफ़ी विस्तार से चर्चा हुई और यह ठीक है कि हमारा परिप्रेक्ष्य, हमारा अनुभव जो है वो भी सदन जाने, और इसीलिए मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई कि जो 4 मंत्री जो वहाँ गए, जिनका डायरेक्ट हैंड्स ऑन वहाँ तजुर्बा था, वो कल सदन के सामने बोल पाए। अब ऑपरेशन गंगा के बारे में सबसे पहले मैं ये एक किस्म से एम्फसाइज करना चाहता हूँ कि हमारा सबसे पहला इवैक्यूएशन था। हमारे स्केल में आज तक किसी ने इवैक्यूएशन नहीं किया कि जो 20,000 लोग हमारे नागरिक जो आए और दूसरे लोग के नागरिक जो हम भारत वापस लाए, ये काम किसी और देश ने नहीं किया। और मैं यह भी कह सकता हूँ कि जो बाकी विदेश मंत्री जिनसे मेरी बात होती है, वो तो कभी कभी यहाँ, स्पीकर सर, कुछ ही दिन पहले एक विदेश मंत्री आए, उन्होंने मुझे बहुत गर्व से कहा कि मैं 2 प्लेन यूक्रेन से लाया, और मेरे से पूछा आपके प्लेन कितने आए, और वो हैरान थे जब मैंने कहा कि 90 प्लेन आए। तो और यह भी है कि बाकी देश जो हैं वो हमारा जो उदाहरण देख के एक किस्म से हम उनको प्रोत्साहित करते हैं। उनको लगता है कि भारत कर रहा है तो हमें भी हमारे साइड से ऐसा कुछ करना चाहिए। कल एडवाइजरी की बात हुई और बहुत लोगों ने, इसमें यह स्वाभाविक है कि लोग कहें ऐसे क्राइसिस में कि आपने जल्दी किया या नहीं किया, या आपको किसी और तरीके से करना चाहिए था, या आपके शब्द के प्रयोग में कुछ कमी रह गई। मैं हाउस को समझाना चाहता हूँ कि अगर हमारी एडवाइजरी का प्रभाव कुछ नहीं होता या लोग इसको सीरियसली नहीं लेते, तो 4,000 हमारे नागरिक उस समय कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के पहले क्यों निकले? वो इसीलिए निकले क्योंकि उनको समझ में आया कि एडवाइजरी का महत्व क्या था, कि हम हर रोज एडवाइजरी इशू नहीं करते। जब कोई किसी भी राजदूतावास का एडवाइजरी है कि जो नॉन एसेंशियल लोग जो हैं वो देश को छोड़ के घर वापस चले जाएं, तो लोग उसको मानते हैं। पर हाउस का पूछना कि सब लोग क्यों नहीं गए, ये भी स्वाभाविक है। और ये इसीलिए नहीं गए क्योंकि जब आप स्टूडेंट हैं, और एक ज़माने में हम सब स्टूडेंट थे, तो हम 20 साल के हैं, तो स्टूडेंट के मन में क्या होता है? स्टूडेंट सबसे पहले तो यूनिवर्सिटी से पूछते हैं, अपने दोस्तों से पूछते हैं, जो स्टूडेंट एडवाइज़र होते हैं, कंट्रैक्टर होते हैं, उनसे पूछते हैं, टेलीविज़न में देखते हैं, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हैं, और उनको लगा एक कि अगर वो उस समय यूक्रेन छोड़ के भारत चले जाएं तो कहीं उनका एजुकेशन डिस्टर्ब हो जाएगा, खराब हो जाएगा, और उनको नुकसान पहुंचेगा। और ये फीलिंग इसीलिए हुआ कि बहुत सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने उस समय ऑनलाइन कोर्सेस देने से भी इनकार कर दिया। जैसे उदाहरण के तौर पे मैं आपको कह सकता हूँ कि कीव में एक यूनिवर्सिटी था, उन्होंने कहा कि हम तो ऑनलाइन पे कन्वर्ट ही नहीं कर सकते। ओडिशा में एक था, उन्होंने कहा कि हम 25 फरवरी तक ही दे सकते हैं ऑनलाइन। एक खार्किव में यूनिवर्सिटी था, उन्होंने राजदूतावास उनको फ़ोन करती रही, उन्होंने किसी को भेजा भी वहाँ, वो तो मिलने के लिए तैयार नहीं थे। और 2 यूनिवर्सिटी और थे, सुमी में और विनित्सा में, जहाँ हमारे विद्यार्थी काफ़ी संख्या में थे, और वो कह रहे थे कि हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कुछ हफ्तों के लिए चला सकते हैं, पर हमारी राय है कि आप रुक जाओ, ये इतना सीरियस नहीं होगा। अब कल एक मेंबर ने हमें याद भी दिलाया कि इसी समय रिपोर्ट्स भी निकली कि रूस जो है अपनी फौजों को, उसके कुछ यूनिट्स को वापस ले जा रहा है। और मैं खुद एक बार मैं उस समय मॉनिटर भी कर रहा था, पर एक बार मैंने अपने लिए एक बार और चेक किया कि यूक्रेन की सरकार उस समय क्या कह रही थी। यूक्रेन की सरकार अपने देश और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स उन्हीं के बीच में थे, उनको कह रही थी कि नहीं, ये आप पैनिक नहीं करो, आप इसमें कहीं कुछ हम लोग संभाल लेंगे। तो ओवरऑल सिग्नलिंग जो था, उन्होंने हमारे नागरिकों को, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को सचमुच एक किस्म से दुविधा में डाल दिया, और इसीलिए 4000 लोग यूक्रेन छोड़ के आए और बाकी 18,000 लोग, उन्होंने कहा कि हम अभी रुक जाते हैं, देखते हैं कि हालात बिगड़ती है, सचमुच बिगड़ती है या नहीं। तो कल जो मैं संसद में जो सुन रहा था, क्राइसिस के बाद कहना कि सबको निकलना चाहिए था या हमको ऐसे कठोर शब्दों में समझाना चाहिए था कि सब डर के मारे निकल जाएं, ये मुझे लगता है कि स्टूडेंट्स की जो माइंडसेट जो है, उसको पहचानती नहीं है कि अगर हम सचमुच ग्राउंड के साथ जुड़े होते, अगर हम स्टूडेंट्स की जो मानसिकता को समझते, तो हमें ये दुविधा जो है ये भी समझनी चाहिए। ऑपरेशन गंगा के बारे में कल थोड़ी सी यह भी चर्चा नहीं अधीर रंजन जी, ये गलती नहीं थी, यही आपकी मेंटालिटी है कि आप गलती ढूंढते। नहीं, क्षमा कीजिएगा स्पीकर, नहीं स्पीकर महोदय, यह साफ है कि ऐसे सिचुएशन में लोग जो हैं 22,000 लोग एक निर्णय नहीं ले सकते कलेक्टिवली। हाँ, तो हाँ, अब यह भी कल चर्चा हुई कि ऑपरेशन गंगा इसमें क्या कोई स्पेशल, ये माने पहले वाले इवैक्यूएशन ऑपरेशन जैसे थी, इसमें कुछ अलग था। तो आखिर के स्पीकर जनरल वीके सिंह ने, मुझे लगा है कि बहुत माने ऑब्जेक्टिवली कहा कि हर ऑपरेशन जो है एक किस्म से यूनिक होती है। हाँ, और ये कंपेयर करना, क्योंकि कहीं युद्ध है, कहीं नहीं है, कहीं तनाव है, कहीं नहीं है, सिचुएशन कुछ और है, कहीं हमने फौज का इस्तेमाल किया है, कहीं सिविलियन एयर इंडिया का किया है। पर ऑपरेशन गंगा में के बारे में मैं ये कहूँगा, और मैं 45 साल के अनुभव से कह रहा हूँ कि जो सिचुएशन, जो चुनौती ऑपरेशन गंगा में थी, आज तक इस सिचुएशन में हमने इस संख्या में इतने नागरिकों को कभी नहीं मिला। इतना मैं विश्वास के साथ कह सकता हूँ। और चुनौती क्या थी? स्पीकर महोदय, आपको याद होगा कि 2015 में हमने ऑपरेशन राहत चलाया था यमन में। उस समय यमन में लड़ाई हो रही थी, पर प्रधानमंत्री ने सऊदी अरेबिया के राजा को फ़ोन करके उनसे एक युद्ध विराम कराया ताकि हमारे प्लेन जाकर हमारे नागरिकों को वापस ले आए। इस समय लड़ाई जारी थी, युद्ध विराम करवाना बहुत मुश्किल था। अंत में हुआ, 2 शहरों में हुआ ताकि हम अपने लोगों को निकाल पाए, पर ओवरऑल नहीं था। ओवरऑल लड़ाई चल रही थी और वहाँ के नागरिक खुद देश से निकलने के चक्कर में थे कि जब ये ऑपरेशन गंगा चल रही थी उस समय करीब 30 लाख यूक्रेन के नागरिक खुद यूक्रेन के बाहर निकलने की प्रयास कर रहे थे। दूसरी जो एक किस्म से खासियत थी इस ऑपरेशन में कि जो प्रधानमंत्री का जो पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन जो था वो भी मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही अद्भुत था कि उन्होंने 2 समय, और वो मैं उसका थोड़ा बाद में समझाऊंगा आपको, कि उन्होंने खुद फ़ोन किया, खुद लीडरों से बात की। 2 जगह जहां हमारे विद्यार्थी बहुत बुरी तरह से फंस गए थे वहां युद्ध विराम कराए ताकि हमारे लोग निकल पाए वहां से। और कल एक ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने इलेक्शन के बारे में कुछ कहा कि इलेक्शन के समय, इलेक्शन के कैलकुलेशन में आपने कुछ चीज़ें नहीं की। मैं ये भी हाउस को याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि इलेक्शन कैंपेन के बीच में प्रधानमंत्री दिल्ली वापस आए, लीडरों से बात की, मीटिंग की और डायरेक्टली सुपरवाइज की। तो ये भी आपको कम से कम पहचान तो देना चाहिए। अब इसमें जो है दो शहर थे, सुमी और खार्किव, जहां हालात बहुत ही खराब थे। खार्किव में शेलिंग हो रही थी। वहाँ आप जानते हैं कि हमारे एक विद्यार्थी जो नवीन जो है उनकी मृत्यु वहाँ हुई। और सुमी में फायरिंग हो रही थी दोनों यूक्रेनियन और रशियंस के बीच में। दोनों जगह खार्किव में एक हमारे ही मेंबर ने यहाँ पूछा कल कि प्रधानमंत्री के बात करने का प्रभाव पता नहीं क्या था। मैं उनको ये बता सकता हूँ कि मैं उस कमरे में था, उनके साथ था उस समय, जब उन्होंने खार्किव में पुतिन साहब के साथ जो मुद्दा उठाया और कहा कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो डेंजर में हैं, फायरिंग हो रही है, तो उस बातचीत के कारण हमें उतना समय मिला कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं खार्किव छोड़ के एक सेफ जोन, जो रशियंस ने हमें बताया कि अगर आप उस जगह जाएंगे उस जगह फायरिंग नहीं होगी। और सुमी में उन्होंने दोनों से, क्योंकि हमने लोगों को निकालने की कोशिश की, फायरिंग हुई। एक टाइम तो स्टूडेंट बस में बैठ भी गए थे, हम निकलने वाले थे और फायरिंग फिर से शुरू। तो उन्होंने दोनों प्रेसिडेंटों से बात की, और क्योंकि दोनों लोग कह रहे थे कि फायरिंग दूसरा देश कर रहा है, और दोनों को समझाया कि हमें इस समय से इस समय अगर आप अपनी फौज को बताएं कि आप फायरिंग ना करें। और फिर यूक्रेन से हम लोगों ने उनकी सहायता भी ली, प्रोटेक्शन भी ली, रेड क्रॉस को भी साथ ले गए। और उसी के कारण जो आखिर का जो इवैक्यूएशन, सुमी का जो इवैक्यूएशन जो था, ऐसे ही हुआ। थोड़ी बहुत कल बात ये भी हुई कि एम्बेसी क्या कर रही थी कि कुछ शहर थे जहां हम कुछ स्टूडेंट के लिए कुछ कर नहीं पाए या हम थे नहीं वहां। अब एम्बेसी राजधानी में थी, वो तो नेचुरल, स्वाभाविक है। और जब आखिर में, और काफ़ी समय तक वो राजधानी में रहे, जब प्रेशर बॉर्डर, पश्चिमी बॉर्डर में जब हमारे स्टूडेंट्स बहुत सारे लोग वहाँ गए और बॉर्डर में फंस गए लोग, तो हमने एम्बेसी को फेज वाइज, पहले आधी एम्बेसी और फिर बाकी एम्बेसी लिविव में गई जो पश्चिम यूक्रेन में है, ताकि वो बॉर्डर के नज़दीक हों और यूक्रेन के अंदर से स्टूडेंट्स की सहायता कर पाएं, क्योंकि हमारी टीम्स यूक्रेन के बाहर सीमा में थी। जो ईस्टर्न सिटीज़, पश्चिमी शहर जैसे खार्किव या सुमी में लोग जो फंसे थे, वहाँ हम लोग उनके साथ हमने कांटेक्ट बना के रखा और उनको जो निकालने की सहायता, उस पर थोड़ी सी कल चर्चा हुई मैं स्टूडेंटों से क्रेडिट लेना नहीं चाहता, क्योंकि उन्होंने जो झेला है उसके लिए तो मेरे पास शब्द ही नहीं। पर यह सत्य है कि ज़्यादातर लोग जो वहाँ से निकले वो ट्रेन में निकले, और वो ट्रेन इसीलिए स्पेशल ट्रेन चलाए गए क्योंकि हम लोगों ने यूक्रेन सरकार पे दबाव डाला और कहा कि हमारे स्टूडेंट हैं वहाँ, तो आप जब तक वो निकलेंगे आप प्लीज़ ट्रेन चलाते जाइए। और उसके कारण, और जो बसेस हैं कुछ लोगों ने अपना लिया, कुछ लोगों कंट्रैक्टर ने दिया, कुछ बसेस के लिए हम लोगों ने उसकी जो व्यवस्था जो की। तो मैं ये नहीं चाहूँगा कि अब ऑपरेशन गंगा हो चुका है, हमारे स्टूडेंट आ चुके हैं। मुझे लगता है कि इस समय हमें सोचना चाहिए कि हम लोग जो हैं साथ मिलकर हमने क्या किया, कैसे किया। मैं मानता हूं कि इसमें कुछ लेसन्स भी हैं, और जब भी हम कोई भी ऑपरेशन करते हैं, तो ऑपरेशन राहत किया या संकट मोचन किया, हमारे मिनिस्ट्री में एक परंपरा है कि जो भी इवैक्यूएशन ऑपरेशन करते हैं उसकी स्टडी होती है, उसकी जो वहाँ से जो हमें सीखना चाहिए वो हम सीखते हैं। ये पूरा ऑपरेशन गंगा जो है ये हमें मानना चाहिए कि कलेक्टिव एफर्ट था, और कलेक्टिव एफर्ट खाली सरकार का नहीं था और मंत्रालयों का नहीं था। इसमें इंडियन कम्युनिटी भी शामिल थी, इसमें कुछ जो बिजनेसेस हैं हमारे यूक्रेन में काफ़ी, और पड़ोसी देश में बिजनेस है, उन्होंने बहुत सहायता की हमारे। स्टूडेंट्स ने खुद किया कि ये भी हाउस को पहचानना चाहिए कि बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स जो निकले उन्होंने कैंप में काम किया, उन्होंने बाकी स्टूडेंट्स की मदद की। और मैंने ये भी देखा कि कभी कभी एक बस था तो आपस में उनको डिसाइड करना था कि कौन जाएगा कौन रुकेगा, और स्टूडेंट्स ने बहुत साहस दिखाया कि बहुत लोग जो रुके और दूसरों को उन्होंने जगह दी। इसको भी हमें पहचानना पड़ेगा। तो और ये बात कल उठी कि मिनिस्टर्स जो गए उनका रोल क्या था। मैं जो यूक्रेन के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर को तो मैं जानता हूं और रूस के भी जानता हूं, और सब पड़ोसी मिनिस्टर को मैं पर्सनली जानता हूं, पहले से जानता था। और जब ये फाइटिंग शुरू हुई मैंने सबसे बात की, क्योंकि पहले से रिश्ता था, तो उन्होंने रिस्पॉन्ड भी किया। पर ये मैं कहूँगा कि अगर हमारे मिनिस्टर नहीं जाते, हमें उन सरकारों से उस लेवल का अटेंशन नहीं मिलता, वो सहायता वो नहीं देते, क्योंकि उनकी अपनी कठिनाई थी, उनकी अपनी प्रायोरिटीज थी, उनके खुद नागरिक और उनके बॉर्डर में वो समस्या थी। तो हमारे मिनिस्टर्स जाने का फायदा मुझे तो मैं साफ कहता हूँ, मुझे उन्होंने बहुत सहायता की ग्राउंड में। उनके जाने से मेरा काम जो है आधा हुआ। तो मैं उनकी प्रशंसा, वो तो अभी हाउस में नहीं है, पर मैं उनकी प्रशंसा करना चाहता हूँ कि एक किस्म से ये टीम स्पिरिट जो है, ये गवर्नमेंट की टीम स्पिरिट, कि अगर एक मंत्रालय पे इतना लोड आए कि बाकी मिनिस्टर्स जो हैं वो डिपार्टमेंटल परिप्रेक्ष्य के बजाय वो मिनिस्ट्री के साथ जुड़ जाते हैं और एक किस्म से एक टीम के मेंबर सदस्य बन के सब लोगों ने काम किया, तो उसकी मैं आज प्रशंसा करता हूँ। जो MEA ने किया वो कल आपको बहुत लोगों ने कहा, उसको मैं दोहराना नहीं चाहता। जो आंकड़े जो हैं वो मेरे स्टेटमेंट में हैं कि जब 13,000 फ़ोन कॉल, 9,000 ईमेल और इतने सारे पर्सनल कॉन्टैक्ट्स लोगों के व्हाट्सएप वगैरह, पर यह भी है कि ये हमारा कर्तव्य है, हमें इस समय करना पड़ा। हम आगे भी ऐसी, भगवान न करे कि ऐसी समस्या फिर से आए, पर जो हमें जो अनुभव जो इस समय का है उसको हम अपनी तैयारी करेंगे। अब जो स्टूडेंट्स जो वापस आए उनके बारे में मेंबर्स ने चिंता प्रकट की। ये स्वाभाविक है, हमें चिंता करनी चाहिए। अगर वो हमारे परिवार के और हैं हमारे परिवार के, तो हम लोग भी ऐसे ही चिंता करते जैसे उनके माता पिता आज कर रहे हैं। तो मैं हाउस को ये सूचना देना चाहता हूं, एक कि जो यूक्रेन गवर्नमेंट ने निर्णय लिया है स्पीकर सर कि उनके लिए there will be a relaxation in respect of completion of medical education. For third year medical students to go to fourth year, there is an exam called CROC 1, and that has been postponed to the next academic year, and students will be allowed to pass to the next academic year based on the completion of the standard requirements. For sixth year students, there is an exam called CROC 2. So normally you have to pass CROC 2 to be awarded the degree. So what Ukraine government has decided, and we have pressed them in this matter, because the largest number of foreign students, foreign medical students in Ukraine are Indian. There are of other countries also. So on the basis of the results of the academic assessments, that they will be awarded degrees without taking CROC. Then the issue is, where else there are many students who are in between. So where do they, what happens to them? What happens to them in India, Speaker Sir, is something which obviously the concerned ministries are also discussing. But from the foreign ministry side, I can say we are today in touch. Honorable member yesterday referred to Hungary. But apart from Hungary, with
what I declared that I had a talk with Prime Minister for long 20 minutes on this issue.
No.
It was on 1:1 issue. He said it to me.
So let me add, because I want to update that picture. Yes, we have been, there was an offer from Hungary, and in addition to Hungary, we have been in touch with Poland, Romania, Czech Republic, Kazakhstan, because they all have similar models of education. There is also a question of education loan, because all these students have taken education loan, and our figures are that 1,319 students have outstanding loans, and the government finance minister informed this house a few days ago that government has asked Indian Banks Association to assess the impact of the conflict and to initiate consultations in regard to the repayment of loans. Now, this, sir, was my overall picture which I wanted to give to the House. But individual members also made some very specific points, and I think I would like to reply to some of them. I cannot reply to all of them because of time limit. I don't want honorable members who I have not replied to think I have not taken them seriously. I have taken everybody very seriously. But I think some points do deserve a very specific reply. I would like, sir, to begin with some observations made by Premachandranji. He contrasted our advisory with those of Western countries. Now, I would like the honorable member to appreciate Western countries had a political approach and a political agenda. Their advisory did not have the same intent which was ours, the welfare of the community concerns. Theirs was also part of a larger political game which they were playing with Ukraine. But again, I want to emphasize that in our case, there was nobody else who had done an evacuation before we did an evacuation. And in fact, when fighting started, many countries, I don't want to take their names, actually told their people, sorry, there is nothing I can do for you. You are there, you are stuck. So, and when we evacuated, again I want to say, we served as an inspiration. There are foreign ministers who said, we watched you, and we said, okay, we will also do something. And yes, we brought back citizens of 18 countries, But I want to say, for example, when we left Sumi, along with us, more non-Indian students came out. And they came out because of a ceasefire that we had helped to arrange. So I would say there is no reason for us to be in any way excessively critical of what happened. And this issue also that we gave priority to some areas and some cities, we looked after all students. I mean, at that stage, in fact, Speaker Sir, frankly, many of our honorable members and even state governments approached me and said, and it is natural, a state is worrying about students of the state. I listened to them very, very openly. But I gave all of them the same answer, saying, I've listened to you, but when I look at the students out there, those students do not tell me they are from one state. The students are behaving like they're all Indians. They are showing a unity. They are showing a collective ability. Please don't disrupt that. So, in fact, we were also under pressure to run flights, saying there will be, can you bring them to a particular state? The moment if we did this, it would have disrupted the sense of togetherness which the students were showing out there. So we took a decision, flights will only come to Delhi and Mumbai. But I would compliment every state government. Every state government made excellent arrangements. Every one of them worked with us so that the movement of students from airport to their homes was very, very smooth. And I would like to use this opportunity, sir, to convey my appreciation of that. In terms of Manish Tiwari ji made two observations which I would like to respond to. One was, he said that friends have to be spoken to honestly. May not have been his exact words, but I think that sentiment. I can assure him, sir, through you, all our conversations with everybody on this matter has been very candid, has been very direct. The positions that I stated in the House have been communicated with as much directness to all our partners. So nobody has any doubt where we stand on this matter. There's just one minor issue which I wanted to clarify to him, because he referred to an exchange I had with the British counterpart. I want to say, actually, she was very careful. She actually told me, we recognize your sovereign right to take decisions. The provocative question which was asked by a member of the press. It was not done by another foreign minister, whether we are buying huge amounts of oil or not. I also wanted to, I have clarified to Brajendra Singh ji about the impact of the Prime Minister's conversation. I want to tell Dr. Sumati that the view that no assistance was given to students, that is not right. Students took trains, students took buses. I accept many students worked among themselves, worked with the student contractors, but with every student contractor, we were guiding them. In fact, another member said, what were you doing? You are only issuing advisories. Let me tell you, at that moment, it was our advisories which told people what to do, saying, this border is clear, this is where you should go. Please, for example, Dr. Sumati referred to a situation where we told students to walk. We told students to walk because that day, sir, there was heavy firing on Kharkiv. There were hundreds of students who were gathered at the railway station. We were really worried for them. We created a safe zone. The safe zone was 12 kilometers, and we wanted the students to understand it is absolutely important you move there. So that is the reason why we said this. And again, I applaud what the students have done and the courage and the endurance that they have shown. I think we should all appreciate that. Regarding I'm looking at, yes, Supriya ji referred to, did we speak to universities? The universities, if they did not advise properly, did you take it up with them? We did. we were very frustrated with some of the universities. I will also say that. But it is because we would keep talking that eventually at least that initial 4,000 actually left. There was one issue which Shrikant Shindeji raised about whether other people moved earlier than us. I would say as an evacuation, we were the first. If individual citizens left, yes, many of them did. As I said, many of them left as part of a larger political plan that their particular countries had. But the bulk of the students who were there, not only from our country, I mean, we saw students from Egypt, from Morocco, from Algeria, from our own neighbors, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan. The bulk of the students, because I think as General V.K. Singh explained yesterday, the psychology of people was, no, this will pass. You know, let us talk to our friends. Friends are saying, "Main nahi ja raha, to aap kyun ja rahe ho?" So that was really what was the situation, and I think we should really show understanding. Let me, sir, finally conclude with one common issue which all members raised, which is worry about the world order. That what is this conflict? What does this mean? There is the relationship between countries. How is this moving? I want to say this. Yes, the world order is changing. The world order has been changing for many years. That is why G7 became G20. World order changed because of COVID. Countries saw what happens when there is too much concentration of economic production in one geography, when there is not enough resilience and reliability in supply chains. World order is changing because countries today worry about trust and transparency, that they are worried where is their data, which technology should they trust. World order is changing because Afghanistan-like situation happened. So you are left with a problem close to our homes, which we are worrying about more than the countries who were there earlier. And now world order will change partly because of the consequences of Ukraine. But what is the solution to it? To my mind, the solution is we have to be stronger. We have to reduce our dependency on the external world. It can never be total. But the way to deal with the new world order is really Atmanirbhar Bharat. And Atmanirbhar Bharat is not just an economic policy. Atmanirbhar Bharat is a Bharat which looks after its people, a Bharat which is capable of running Operation Ganga. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Minister, sir, I raised one issue, and it is involving Prime Minister of the country. And I was carrying a letter of a Chief Minister of a state. She placed some proposals that 350 around students from West Bengal, the state which I belong, what would be their future? So she placed some proposals that I will absorb these students in my own state. As an outcome, it was said by Honorable Prime Minister that these students will be sent back to Hungary. I am repeatedly mentioning these words. And it was a long discussion, not a 1-2 minute discussion. But what would be the fate of these students, I want to know. You are telling they will be served in the adjacent countries, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Czechoslovakia. So these are the areas. We want more specific replies. That what would be the fate of the students? You are telling Ukraine agreed. What is the existence of the Ukraine government now? Are they under the control of the Soviet Russia, Russian Federation? Or they are standing with their own feet? That is still uncertain. It is not clear from your observation side speech. So let the House be assured, let the students' community be assured in a time-bounding program that when and how these students are going to be replaced in the different parts of the world, in the Eastern European side, or it is particularly in Hungary, or the countries which you mentioned, what could be the time limit for that?
Niranjan ji.
सर, कल तो हम लोग सारे 4 मंत्री जी के जो भाषण सुनी है, आज हमारे जयशंकर जी उन्हीं की बात को दोहरा रहे थे। सर, बात यह कि नई बात आपसे मैं जानना चाहते हैं कि आप जानते हैं कि रशिया के खिलाफ बहुत किस्म के रेस्ट्रिक्शन इंपोज हुए हैं। स्विफ्ट सिस्टम से रशिया को निकालने के सारे कवायद हो रहे हैं, फिर भी कुछ कुछ बैंक से कारोबार चलते हैं। इस हालत में रूबल और रूपी की ये ट्रांजैक्शन में क्या असर होगी? हम लोग क्या स्विफ्ट से बाहर आकर रूपी और रूबल को भी चिंता कर रहे हैं? और whether this government has been approached by other countries to mediate in the war between Ukraine and Russia in order to find out any convenient way so as to solve the issue amicably.
Okay. No.
The future of the student is blinking in an unsuspected light. What exactly is happening to the admissions about? You are giving some answer. I heartily appreciate the efforts taken by the MEA as well as the government. I heartily appreciate, sir. But the future of the students, as he has some suggestions about that, the students are still have apprehension because the parents are meeting us and they're asking what will be the future of the student who are, because 6th year is the internship. Where you have said Croc 2 will begin, that is fine. What about the other students? What measures we are taking about that? That we would like to know the specific answer about it. Thank you, sir.
Broadly, there are two concerns. One is on the future of the students. I completely understand that this is something which all honourable members will worry about. I think this is something which between Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and the other organizations dealing with medical education, they are seized of the matter. I only wanted to update the members because specifically Sudeep Bandyopadhyay ji yesterday mentioned his conversation with the Prime Minister in Hungary. I wanted to point out that in addition to Hungary, again, Hungary was the first one to offer and offered most generously, but in addition to Hungary, there were other offers as well, which we are exploring. All our embassies are at work, and obviously our effort will be to see that our students are assisted as much as possible. Regarding Adhir Ranjan ji's interest, sir, on the payment mechanism, I want to assure him our effort today is to stabilize economic transactions between India and Russia, because this is very important for us. Russia is a very important partner in a variety of areas. I think all honourable members understand that. So, at the moment, there is a interministerial group which is led by the Finance Ministry, which is seeing how the payments issue can be best addressed. There are experiences from the past which are relevant in this regard. But I think this is quite honestly an issue where the Finance Minister would finally have to take a call.
माननीय मंत्री महोदय ने बड़ा विस्तृत जवाब दिया, और जो मैं सोचता हूं कि जिस प्रकार से भारत सरकार और राज्य सरकार ने मिलकर इस गंभीर चुनौती का सफलतापूर्वक सामना किया और जिस तरीके से हमने उस परिस्थिति में हमारे देश के बच्चों को निकला, ये निश्चित रूप से प्रशंसनीय है। और मुझे लगता है कि पूरा सदन को इस बात की प्रशंसा करना चाहिए और भविष्य में ऐसे मुद्दों पर सारा सदन मिलकर, एक साथ मिलकर देश हित के अंदर काम करेगा, ऐसी मेरी भावना है। सभा की कार्रवाई 2:30 तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।